ये ऑन है, ग्रीन लाइट तो ऑन है इसको। हेलो चेक। अच्छा चलिए, हेलो टेस्टिंग, ठीक है, आवाज़ आ रही है? हेलो हेलो। अच्छा, तो अभी वी हैव 2 मिनट है अभी। हाँ हटाना ही पड़ेगा ये, इट वोंट डू एनीथिंग सो। ठीक, उसके बाद हम ये यहाँ आ जाएंगे, है ना? हाँ बस 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 ठीक है। तो यू हैव नॉट गॉन लाइव येट ना? So I welcome you to Unnat Bharat Abhiyan at IIT Kanpur. We are starting a talk series in which we will be addressing issues and concerns related to rural India. And the first talk today is being given by Shri Sandeep Saxena, who is an alumnus of IIT Kanpur. After graduating from IIT Kanpur, he has had a very illustrious career in the corporate world. served industry giants such as IOC, Infosys, Cognizant Technologies, Franklin Templeton, India. He, during the course of his career, he lived in many countries and was head of strategy Asia in Franklin Templeton Investments. And this is when he chose an alternative path for himself. Responding to his inner call for establishing natural ecosystems and businesses based on them, so he spent many years understanding the laws of ecology and solutions, lived in forests, worked with tribal communities. He set up business models, and he also saw those business models being challenged by entrenched interests, and he also saw his business models getting destroyed also. During this period, he also wrote a book, an highly acclaimed book, The Diary of a Snake Charmer, and it is a must-read book by everyone who's concerned with what is happening to India and as well as globally as well. So, Shri Sandeep Saxena is the founder of Aranyani, a food forest spread over 2,000 acres in Madhya Pradesh, and he has set up a e-commerce platform which is unique. It is unique in the sense that this platform attempts to bring the producer and the consumer in collaboration with each other in a very, very transparent manner. And he will be talking about this in this particular talk. And I will now, without wasting any more time, I will hand over the mic to Mr. Sandeep Saxena for his inaugural talk in our Unnat Bharat Abhiyan at IIT Kanpur.
Thank you, Professor Sandeep, and many thanks to UBA IIT Kanpur for inviting me for this talk. It is quite a coincidence that the topic of the talk, the possibilities of the emerging digital world, coincide with what we are trying to do, because I believe we are at the we are at that end of our work where we need entire spectrum of technological development to pull our work up. So I'll phase my talk in four divisions. Number one, I'll explain what we do currently. Number two, a context or journey, taking through how our organization's journey evolved was vis-a-vis how the technology evolved. And at each stage, I have tried to see, can we harness the technology? And since last 16 years, I always found it cannot be harnessed. Okay, and today, suddenly last, you can say 6 months or 1 year, we have realized it has reached a stage where we can harness it. And as I explained, that is a significant development. The third part of it would be, I'll explain what we are trying to do with technology, and through that, what are the possibilities which we are trying to cover as of now, and then what are the what are our future dreams, and where we feel new thresholds will arrive in technology, various technologies which are evolving. So to start with, what we do today, it's broadly called food forests, not to be confused with a very large, very deciduous, large, dense forest. We believe even a grassland which is self-sustainable ecologically is a forest. So what we are trying to create is harness all the local ecologies which are present over India, which produce native foods and products use them to create further, save all the traditions which have been built over last, you can say 1000 or 2000 years, those traditional products. Use those ecologies, build those products and bring them directly to people. Now that is currently it evolved from when I started in 2007 from an 8-acre area. Currently we do around 6,000 acres in MP directly. Then we affect indirectly where people wait for this technology to come in and help them out. And I'll explain why in the next section. And help them out. That runs into crores of acres. And then the entire last few years I have traveled across India. So wherever we find ecologies are in distress along Ganges, along in the Himalayas, upper Himalayas, lower Himalayas, where they find no utility for the markets, and hence whatever utility they could present has been wiped out in a lifetime. And but there's still so much to be regenerated which can be used economically also without harming the nature. So our vision or mission right now is how can we bring back all those ecologies so that we have a sustainable world. And now we have come to the conclusion that we also need traditions. We also we need to bring all those products which have been lost, which were actually supported by the nature earlier. So that is our current work. Now the third critical piece comes into this, because as I stand today, in fact I was sharing with someone today that because of technology now I can see this can become a huge, you can say, I don't want the word disruptive, but it can become a huge different kind of market creation engine. So to see the challenges, try to be in the shoes of a, let's say, a tribal who has preserved an ecology like we do, and then they have a honeycomb in their yard, which is a natural honeycomb. Now how do they get to the market? The moment they try to get to the market with that honey, which is completely natural, there is a facade of different kinds of honey products. And I can say confidently that in all over the world actually, at least India is a better off country in that way, that almost 99% of our honey is produced artificially. So now this is a fellow who is part of that 1%, and this is a fellow whose value is exotic. Okay. Now the fellow goes to the market, he has absolutely no credibility, no media engine behind them, no certifications behind them, and there are no certifications made for these ecological products. So what do? They stand in line along with selling along with an artificial product. Now consumer is not aware of all this. Typically a lot of water has flown in last 40 years. So consumers are really, most of the consumers are not now equipped to understand what a real natural product is. So now this fellow stands in the line, ultimately he will sell the produce at the cost of an artificial product, while this has a value. I am not just talking of the price, this has a value which is way beyond medicinal value, the whole ecological value, which is way beyond, and consumers are willing to pay that value. Okay. But this fellow stands in the line and then he sells out at, for argument's sake, let's say 200 rupees a kg, whereas his market value would have been 1000 rupees. And as a consumer who is sitting in an urban area, you would realize a natural honey would cost almost, you would have paid 1500 for it. So this is the tragedy of all the ecological resources. Because of certain reasons and technology not being there to harness those, the whole asset is underpriced, and because it is underpriced, it is not regenerated. And there is a different paradigm which is followed, and it's a tragedy on both sides, consumer as well as the producer. So that has been the story pretty much. If you look at last 40 years, the kind of challenge which now we have to, while we are creating the ecologies, native ecologies, our challenges remain the same as that of the let's say this tribal or someone in a mountain who has exotic flowers. So our challenges remain the same, because at the end of the day we are creating the same thing, and we have to solve that person's challenge so that we are able to sell our products. So in that process we realized, while we are doing it for ourselves, it has a huge scope. All it needs is anyone can be brought onto that platform and given the same kind of access to the markets. Now second thing was, I'll come to that, what are the challenges to connect this. If you look at it from the I gave a simple tribal example. One is the consumer knowing about the existence of such a person, because these are isolated cases, right now. So they have to collaborate. Now to be able to collaborate, there has to be a transparency of information. There has to be full trace that where does this product or the person or the farm exist, and what is the a complete financial transparency, like it happens between one-to-one transactions, and which also means that all the in-between market players from logistics, packaging, etc., are they have to disclose their transparency. Then only this takes off. Now given that, I will cover the journey from 2007 onwards, why I got into it, and then when I got into it, how helpless it was. We tried to harness the best technology, cutting edge, but how helpless this was. And coming to today, why we feel it has converged and now we can use it. And then we come to all the aspects, what are the possibilities of a digital world. Because if we are able to use, a tribal living in a remote area is able to use it and use it in a very again disruptive manner, then the field is open for all. So given that, 2007 when I quit the job, it was a moment's decision. Simple thing, what we call yaksh, prashn or gyan. I was passing around a river which is a feeder river of Narmada, and a simple data point was that river used to flow till February then, and I took some statistics from the locals, and it was just a coincidental question that has this river ever flown ever. So the answer was yes. Around 20 to 30 years back it was a perennial river, and year on year it has reduced. So now it is like this in February, but another 15 days it will further reduce and it will go away. And then I started seeing many rivers, and I realized, what, this is okay, this is till February, but many of them have actually, they are now flowing till September, and some of them actually become only monsoon rivers, so which used to be perennial rivers. So this was a one-way traffic, and I tried to do some extrapolation, and I was unfortunately proven wrong. I thought it will take another 20 years for this river to go away, but believe me, it didn't take 20 years. We live there now, and it's hardly been 4 or 5 years, it's gone. That has been because the pace was set, initial curve had been achieved and it was going so fast. And that's what we see. 2006 no one talked about climate change, and hardly it is 2021 and everyone is worried. So that's how fast it was. So given that was one thing which, and then second question came to my mind, which was, whatever I do, I try to map every kind of activity or a job or a profession I could do. Can it bring this river back? Whether I am a software engineer to a banking firm or whatsoever. How does the chain flow, and can it bring this river back? Unfortunately, none of it goes back to replenishing that. Actually, it only exhausts the river and the resources. So without getting into details of that, how it happens, these two questions, and the answer was clear: the river is not coming back. We are not leaving anything for the next generation. We are not leaving anything for the children. It's not. And then the third question came: what can be done to bring it back? Okay, and that point of time I left my job, and that's when this whole journey started. So this was 2007. I thought it was easy. Uh, it, of course, it took 2 to 3 years of understanding all the philosophies, how to build a sustainable world, how to even do, if we are trying to consume from that, let's say farm or a forest, how to do it sustainably, can we produce it sustainably, can we not take more resources. So that took some time, but during that time I was thinking, can the technology be harnessed? But that point of time, the technology world was typically around standalone ERP solutions, standalone CRM solutions. Mobile was not so much there, actually not even around. So very difficult to reach out to customers, very difficult to connect to what we are doing to anyone. And again, the same challenges which I explained, like a tribal, they were very much there. The market had built up in a different manner. So on top of it, there were further challenges that a lot of ancillary applications had not come in, logistic applications, etc. had not come in. I'm not even coming to the modern applications. So this is 2007. And then I thought, no, this has to be a standalone work. It has to be my work or those who want to be interested in replenishing one part or small part of the farm. It cannot be a huge work. I cannot, take this to someone who can pay for it, okay, or be involved economically in it. So that was 2007. And between 2007 and 14, roughly 7 to 8 years, things changed dramatically. In the sense, lot of you might have heard Flipkart came, Amazon was in US, it started coming here, and then we started tinkering with can we use e-commerce to do that. But then we realized, no, the logistic chains or logistic applications are not there. Ancillary, all the tracking of logistics, etc. Is not possible. So then we dropped the idea. It is not possible, and we are not even talking of the social media then. So reaching the customer was not even on the horizon and differentiating our thing. Then 2014 onwards, we started hearing about almost social media coming into picture, and of course blockchain coming into picture. That point of time, again we waited, because as I said, we had to give full transparency, which was not possible without having either blockchain, or wherever blockchain is too expensive for the product, at least having a record which works like a blockchain and is not that expensive to generate. We don't need actually very random strict numbers, which just does that record keeping. So those kinds of concepts started coming into picture, and then again our minds woke up कि now it is possible that we can build a transparent world, full traceability. Collaboration was still out. Okay, there was no technology or networks to do that collaboration. So that was one thing, or even marketing. Then social media started evolving, and as you know, Facebook, even YouTube, Google, all the social media platforms which are influencers of decision making, they started evolving into marketing and data driven marketing decision companies. So that point of time we realized, and they started opening those kinds of campaigns also. So that point of time we realized, okay, now we can influence the customer, at least cannot collaborate, but we can send the information out, okay, and possibly take the information in. So that was one thing. On the parallel, all the applications which I said were not existing in the earlier phase came out, logistic applications, data mapping applications, etc. came out. So that, and it was the first wave of Android kind of phones coming into users' hands. So those things started coming out. So this is almost up to 2007 to 2014, okay, and 15 onwards we started tinkering with e-commerce. The experience was very bad. We tried to use platforms I wouldn't name because I would, while they didn't work for us, they did significant work which does help us or helps anyone in the world. So simple thing was these platforms were not collaborative platforms, they were sales push platforms. You have to they quickly match the need of a consumer or try to create a need of a consumer and try to run a sales campaign, while it looks like someone is running their business, but actually these platforms are running the sales. So it didn't work for us. Our work was very different. Honeycomb will come in, it will come in summers. It will only come in summers for a few days. It cannot be kept, without preservatives and without adding chemical agents. It cannot be kept for very long, or if it is kept, it will have a massive stock loss. So we realized, we need lot more consumer awareness, and that only then the ecological improvements will start coming back. Only then the sustainability will start coming back. So and we were not even concerned about any other path, like a middle path. I realized no, they all are heavily harmful paths. So that 2014 onwards we kept a watch, and I believed it won't happen ever. These kinds of applications will be possible. Come 2020, suddenly, there are on the horizon, there are blockchain, there is Flutter. If you have not heard of it, Flutter, React Native, significant cross-platform and very nimble platforms, or you can say languages, where all the other features from, you can say, social media to blockchain to AI can be incorporated very easily. Okay. So suddenly the business case for all the forests became very strong. Okay. We could remove the facade if we use the technology, and then the whole three philosophical principles. Actually, so I'm a pretty philosophical guy, and we took a lot of you can say inspiration from Vedic principles. So out of that only we said for applications we need two things straight away. One, total transparency. Second, total traceability of what product is coming, who is growing it, who is making it, and the complete chain. And then transparency means fiscal transparency. And if there can be any other transparency, that also has to be included. Like fiscal already we gave, like for if you are a consumer, you exactly know if you have bought 200 rupees worth of pickle, what's the distribution, how much did the platform get, how much did the government get, how much did the logistic guy get, and what did that women get who made that pickle, and what did that person get who had grown the mangoes. So total transparency, and transparency along with a potential to collaborate, because that's where the transparency starts getting effective. Simple passing off of information is actually ineffective. It's just another data point. So now we thought this is possible, and 2019 we were looking at humongous development costs for this application. Come to 2020, 21, I think it was done for very small amounts, almost peanuts. So what changed in this time is a lot of platforms realized that to create a different world, and it is not possible to continue with this world, this energy, this destructive world is not possible. I think Google, I don't know anyone in top in Google, but I can see the mind that they realized this world has to be opened up completely for it to be changed, and that's where we latched onto it. But that's besides the point. The thing was, any complex thought, and I believe we are at the boundary of it. There might be more complex thoughts which can be very simply executed using all these applications, because the way technology has evolved over last I would say 15 years, and of course there is a lot of groundwork which has gone beyond it, but that creates a lot of hope that now it's so easy to link someone who is in upper Himalaya creating a natural product, and so easy for them to collaborate between them and a consumer who is sitting very far away with total transparency. Okay. This is the effect of bringing together all the developments, so I would say, as I see it, and of course being a non-tech person, this is the limit of possibility right now, but I hope people are thinking beyond it. When it comes to us, where we are thinking beyond it, I clearly see an incorporation of an advanced form of blockchain like crypto into our work, because we see lot of value which is being created in the system going untapped because it cannot be tapped in currencies. Simple is our voluntary work, lot of voluntary work which happens on the field for us, that has to be tapped. It has to be part of the product map or the ecological map. So those kinds of things have to be brought into it, where currently we find it's too expensive to do, and I hope 2-3 years down the line that won't be that expensive to do. So, but still it's on the horizon. The other thing is AI, where we, if you can understand what I am trying to say, we can actually use AI. Again, today it looks very costly for us, but we see the map. We can use AI very specifically to create solutions, lifestyle solutions and lifestyle management of any person using the entire ecology. So while it connects the person to the ecological products, it solves the problem also for that person, and it's that easy, because I'll give you an example, live example which we do. So we know that we have certain products like Karonda. It's a variant of cranberry. It's very good for prostate health, and using AI or all the data on the online, we know exactly where what kind of people are needing that product, and sometimes they are also searching for that product but not able to get it from the chain, and whatever they are getting either has no trace on it, which also means it is it is infested with either chemicals, preservatives, which actually defeat the purpose. So and that also defeats the purpose of incentivizing people who are growing that forest to grow more. So it defeats both the purposes. So now we can, with the help of all this AI, we can actually pinpoint, here is the Karonda and here is your need. We connect the two, remove the middleman with all the transparency. It is possible, and you can collaborate. So it's that simple, and there will be further there will be further things like many kinds of automation which can be linked to this kind of AI, but I won't get into that. The point is this: we are looking at a future where you think of a problem and the solution is very quite cheap. If it is not cheap, just keep looking out, it is around to it should be solved. And even if we are not a tech person, it should be solved pretty economically within a very quick time frame. So that is about our app, and that is how we have how our journey has converged with the tech world after almost 16 years of believing such a complex thing was not possible, and now knowing that it is not only possible, it is very easily and very cheaply possible. So think of the possibilities. You just need a good idea, you just need to figure out how it is to be done, and you don't have to worry about whether you need $1 billion funding or not. All the tools, I believe, are almost there. So that was about our application and what are the possibilities in this world. So with that, I will leave the forum open to questions.
I just have one question. Like in the starting, you have talked about the honey, extracting honey. So, like as a layperson, how would I know that if I'm buying a honey, that how much pure is it?
Okay. So I would. So this is how the information will move. Yeah. So this is how the information will move, because what are the parameters for a real honey? Let's forget about pure right now. What is a real honey and unreal honey? Real honey needs honeybees. Honeybees need forests. Okay, and an ecosystem which can support them. So what we are able to do with this technology is to give a full trace. Okay, here is the forest, here is the honey harvesting time, here is where you can participate in that activity, whether remotely or on site. So those kinds of things assure on a larger scale the community that okay, it is a real thing. Okay, purity, I would say purity is a subset of having a real natural thing. Okay, because even artificially created chemicals can be pure. So I would say that kind of thought we will be able to evoke the moment we give the trace. That okay, you question where is the forest where your honey is coming from, and the moment you question that, your honey becomes pure. Okay, and because then you demand all the information.
So, thank you for the wonderful answer. So, can you elaborate how a tribal setting in CG participants in this efforts, will he go online sale?
CG means Saxena?
Yeah, it's exactly.
Yes. So given that they will need, like of course, this is the second part of the equation which we didn't cover. It also puts pressure on the supplier. Okay, while we are removing all the facade in between, it also puts a pressure on the person on the other side also, that it has to be pure and real. So if a tribal is sitting in CG and they have a native ecology around them, they can so easily be part of a digital chain as long as they are willing to share the information. Okay, how is their forest? The complete asset, which the asset means trees, etc., which we can map, and they are ready to go basically. So it's all about transparency. What I have realized is there is a certain distance to be traveled. Lot of farms, let's say if they are not organic but they are still selling organic, they will need to become transparent, and the moment they become transparent, they will be forced to become organic. So the same will apply to everyone.
So, Ms. Jyoti Dhanke want to ask a question. He's asking, we are interested in working in collaboration with UBA. So, could you just guide us how they can connect with us? And
yes, so we will share the link of our app. Although it's quite easy. The name is Aranyani and it's on Google or even our website. Now, how to collaborate on? We have made a few broad categorizations, but they are not comprehensive. Anyone can dream of a different way of collaborating. I can give you certain case studies. And I'll give you a nice case study. So someone came to us who was a very passionate person about soaps, natural soaps, and we have a lot of such lists. Someone is about baby soaps, and their problem was that they could not get pure natural ingredients with trace. So they were taking things from us, we being purely suppliers back then. And then we said, why don't you collaborate with us? You have a great idea, do one thing, give that idea to us, take royalty from us. Let us produce for your product, okay, and let a self-help group in the village, tribal village, know how you are going to make that particular product. It will come not only at a fraction of a cost, but it will also change the mindset across the society, especially they are able to see a very high-end product. On top of it, what you would get is very easy partners who are who are giving you a trace of your products, doing that work for you, and you get access to a very large market compared to something in vicinity which is a very small market for your art. So across, I think there are infinite possibilities of collaboration, whether it's a product, and we are talking of products which completely can replace the complete set of consumption. So it's not it's not a small set, so if there is a traditional knowledge which you hold, I would say immediately collaborate, because this can take you to another level.
So Mr. Raja wants to ask a question. He is a student, and so how can, as a student, can contribute to this noble thing?
Good, very nice question, because I didn't touch upon it. I thought it was out of context. Any transparent, traceable, collaborative view of the world is not possible without an open source organization, just like an open source code. So what does an open source organization means? All our roles are open for, time limit we have set, because we want to have more and more people to have this experience, see a different world, get attached to the ecology and our country's natural assets. And hence, if a person gets stuck to a certain position, then of course slowly that may lead to less transparency. We won't be able to call ourselves open. So anyone can take up positions within our work. There are almost 3 lines of dimensions. One is area wise, one is product wise or service wise, and one is the function wise. So one can take up, let's say, very hypothetical, one can take up marketing of honey in a particular area, or taking care of ecologies which create honey in a very particular area. And then so there are our system allows an open source organization, one can just plug in with what their skill or what their starting interest is, and they can find a role. We'll try to find a role. Once they have done that, we'll try to motivate them to see broader things.
Sir, I have one more question. So you have talked about in the middle some term flutter. Flutter. So could you just elaborate what is it?
So I think most computer science guys would be, or recent ones would be very aware of it. So Flutter is a Android, actually it's a cross-platform web application development language. Okay, now Flutter is by Google, then there are other Facebook, etc., Amazon also, they have their own languages. And we have used Flutter not because of any particular preference, but then we found that it was slightly ahead in the kind of features we wanted, and of course many other interactions with the kind of databases we had. So Flutter is typically Google promoted open source kind of language, which is cross platform. And it allows development of applications very easily, and it has a huge library of open source, so you can just plug and play quite easily.
So So there's one more question. So it's regarding you said about crypto. So is it similar to Bitcoin?
Right. So basically, Bitcoin is one of the ways of using the blockchain, right? And broadly, the way we are trying to use it, we have not yet put it on the trace because our products are not that expensive. There are products on which we are able to put it on the trace, and that cost is justified. But where we are trying to use it, and possibly I feel that's the way this blockchain is going to be used across many things. Yesterday I was speaking to someone who was using it across learning platforms, the blockchain to learn, reward, etc. So we are trying to use the same thing within our world, basically within all the which is how to reward, and I would say how to involve everyone in an ecological or sustainable work, whether it is purchase of product or it is production of that product. So where we want to involve that is where the monetary rewards are not there. It has to be paid off in the form of a points, and there has to be trace on those points, that who worked in which project, how can we reward that, who has contributed a cow to us without asking for it. So that also has a reward point. So that's how we are trying to build that trace and use blockchain there. And for that I use the term, just to give an analogy, I use the term crypto, but that's an analogy.
So sir, I'm just curious to know, like if I want to visit that farm where these all things, so would it be possible for anyone to visit it?
Okay. One thing, so I'm a good marketing guy, so I would first say that if you want to explore the world or India, okay, there is no better place than go on our app, figure out slowly all the locations will be listed. So we are putting up, and these are traditional, traditional ways to stay, but explore the whole ecology, village, culture. So one is in Suhagpur, which is in MP. We have recently almost done one in Srinagar. It's in a village, in a place called Thapla. Then one in Solan, it's ready. Then Kinnaur, we are getting it ready. Though it's a very harsh terrain, very severe winter and very severe slopes. But across India, one is almost ready in Wayanad. Then, so we are getting many centers ready, which you can find either on our website or on the app. But this is the best way to learn, see the world, universe, and the country.
So it was really nice talk, and I'll say thanks. And if anyone has any question, they can post on the YouTube live session going on. So thank you so much, sir.
I'd also like to add up. So I'm Rita Singh from Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, IIT Kanpur. Thank you, Sandeep ji. This is a wonderful, wonderful talk. I think there's a lot of takeaway for the students who want to work on technology, who want to experience India, who want to do really, I see young people really bothered with the type of business that goes on with no transparency, inequitable distributions and so on. So, they will be able to work, and this is such a system that Aranyani is developing, has put forward, that I think everybody is going to benefit in this, and this is excellent. I invite all the UBA colleges to get involved and look at the run any website.